Well, day two of the Doane three-man umpire camp was a success. We had really good weather here in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area. Uh, for the day, I was working in the cage with guys for plate things. Okay, primarily though, we were working with the strike zone technology, the laser strike zone technology. Have it hooked up to a computer and a screen and everything, and we would be throwing pitches and having guys call pitches. Sometimes when we had the different teams, the JUCO teams that were playing, that would warm up. New pitchers that would be coming in, we'd use some of those. But primarily, we have a catcher and one of us instructors. You know, I did my fair share. Would be throwing in pitches from about 25, 30 feet away or whatever, and trying to hit different parts of the strike zone and helping guys with their stance and their head height and their how they're calling pitches, but also just understanding the different parts of the strike zone that sometimes we miss. And primarily, the biggest thing was the top of the strike zone. All right. Sometimes we'll get those looping kind of breaking pitches that might nick the bottom of the zone, and those were kind of issues at times too. And when I was throwing, I was always trying to hit those and see if guys could get those strikes. But the top of the zone is something that I think a lot of umpires at all levels miss pitches there. And if you can consistently get that top of the zone, one, your games are going to be quicker and things are going to go along a little bit better. But also, you're just going to be a better umpire. I mean, that's what we're supposed to call the whole strike zone. So the strike zone technology, you kind of set it up. We ended up setting it up with 18 inches at the bottom of the zone, and it was 48 inches at the top. At first, they had it 50. That was too much, what the company suggests. Then we went down to 46 because it seemed like that was just a little high, and that seemed to be about the right spot that we wanted it to be. And it worked quite well. Sometimes with this strike zone thing, if the sun is too bright on it, it can kind of mess up the lasers a little bit. We kind of had to do that, so we had to put something to kind of shade it a little bit. It probably would work a little better inside. And, you know, you can switch it back to left-handed, right-handed. It tells you what pitch you have. It has the black, so it's about on each side of the plate, about one ball on each side of the plate. So we were able to say, if getting one ball off the plate is acceptable. More than one ball, unless you're working a really, really terrible baseball game and you got to get everything you can that's almost on the lines of the batter's box or something, then that's not really acceptable, especially at good high school level or obviously collegiate level. So that was it was good. I think the guys really got a lot out of it and made them kind of think about what they were calling. We had also issues with guys that mainly because of their head height weren't able to see some of those outside pitches, or they ended up just kind of guessing on some of them, depending on a righty or lefty batter. So there's a few umpires that had some issues there that were kind of brought to their attention. So I guess it just kind of shows you a little bit of some of the flaws. It's always something at a camp where you're in a cage, you're doing cage work, and there's a more experienced umpire there, and he's giving you feedback, and a pitch comes in, and he's like, well, that's a strike, and you balled it, or whatever, vice versa, whatever it was, and you think, yeah, well, he's probably right, but I don't know. But when you have this kind of neutral third party, which is the machine, it says, yeah, that's a strike or that's a ball, and it's pretty legit. I mean, it's not taking some opinion or their eyes are looking at it a little differently or their angle is a little different. It's got its way of doing it. So they're definitely worthwhile. I suggest that if they're not cheap, of course, and there's a few different versions of those, strike zone technology type devices out there, but definitely worthwhile for training in any kind of association at any level. That could be very valuable to those that want to try to get a little bit better and get a little bit different kind of feedback. Obviously, they use similar types of things, but more technologically advanced at the major league level and other levels to track pitchers as well. But it's definitely something that I think a lot of groups around the country should try to look into. So we had a good time after the games were happening. I didn't really see too many games on the field because I was in the cage. But I saw, a few things that were happening. One situation I saw, and this could be at any level, whether you're working and also any kind of mechanics, 2, 3, 4-man, whatever you're working. The whole concept of voluntary release. We want a player like makes a diving catch, and it's in his glove, and then he hits the ground, and he rolls or whatever the heck happens, and then he gets up and the ball's on the ground. Well, he's got to take it out of his glove himself, So we had a situation where it was called an out on something similar to that, where that's it looks like he caught it, but in the rules, no, he didn't. So it's different if a guy makes a great catch and he's running toward the fence, and then he makes a quick stop and he starts moving toward the infield to make a throw, and then the ball drops. Okay, well, he had made the catch and he had changed his direction, so we give him the catch on that. So understanding those things and taking your time to see the play all the way through is important. So that was just one thing that I kind of noticed when I was on the field. I was just watching from the stands there. Before we took off, we always have a little get-together on the first big day, which was Saturday night. So a lot of umpires showed up, and that was a good time to talk to some people and get some food and everything, and so that was fun. So I will give you the report on day 3 on the second part of this podcast here, and let you know how that goes.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the vehicle owner's manual for important feature limitations and information.
Day 3 of the Doane Umpire Camp, another beautiful day in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area. We had a little slight change of plans, at least my plans, I guess. We still had everything going on at Davenport University, and I went out there in the morning and helped out a little bit with some of the field instruction, and we talked about situations that had happened in some of the games, and also how to handle certain situations, like with coaches, and how not to throw your partner under the bus on certain things too. But they were running games out there. We had Brent Rice working on a classroom session, which I didn't get to see what he was doing with that, but I'm sure it was something great because he's always a great presenter. I went out to the MIAA Sports Complex, and they had a collegiate doubleheader fall stuff going on. And we had shifted a couple umpires out there and making it 3-man. So I went there with another instructor, and we watched those games and helped out those umpires. And some of the things that we kind of noticed, and the guys did a solid job for sure. Working on reading your partners. Like, for example, if you're U1 and there's a fly ball or something to left field area that's in U3's coverage, you got to be aware of what he might be doing and watching him. And, trying to get ahead of that potential runner in case you got to cover second base, in case he goes out or if he goes out late, those kind of things. Because when guys first start working 3-man and 4-man kind of goes with the same thing, you're naturally just concerned about what you're doing. Making sure you're in the right spot and that you understand what is happening. And so that makes it difficult to kind of fill in where maybe somebody might have missed a rotation or they're a little bit late. But a similar type of thing where umpire did a really good job where there was like a fly ball to left field, a tag-up situation, and the U3 was inside. I think it was first and third. And that's really the catch-no-catch and the fair foul for the home plate umpire, but U3 should have been splitting the difference between, first and second and having that potential play over there. But he was kind of caught more toward third base, and U1 kind of recognized that and cut inside and was able to pick up anything that was happening because there was a tag up, throw home, and then the runner did advance on that throw from first to second base, there wasn't a play there, but, there could be, and somebody's got to be there covering that. That really should be U3, but U1 picked it up. So you've got to kind of see what your partners are doing. I mean, it's all about, the pause, read, react, but part of that is pausing to see what your partners are doing and then see what fielders are doing and reacting to, the situation where the ball is and things like that too. If you do that, you're able to do that better. Our plate umpire did a good job getting the top of the strike zone. We were talking, me and the other instructor, about how a lot of pitchers are missed on the top of the strike zone. That's something that I think a lot of us can work on. So he was doing a nice job, and my partner, who was my instructional partner, who was a former AAA umpire, so he's a heck of an umpire. He was talking about timing as well on the plate, and something that I hadn't really thought about, but he's so right about it. Some guys, when their timing is so quick, basically hitting the glove and they're calling it ball or strike or whatever, they have a harder time getting check swings themselves, without having to, go to their base umpire, because they already call it. Like, boom, you call the ball. Well, you can't say that he swung now because you just called it a ball. You didn't really give yourself that time to see if he swung and go, yes, he did, and get your signal and everything. And he's so right about that. So, obviously, proper timing in everything we do in umpiring is important. But that also gives us the ability to see more aspects of the play and have a better chance of getting it right. So those are some of my observations from the third and final day of the Doane umpire camp. And it was a big success for sure. I think a lot of the umpires, we had 41 umpires attend. I think they learned a lot and got better, and that's the whole point. And hopefully they will also be able to, move on with their career and move on to bigger and brighter things. That's always what everybody's really trying to do as well. So that concludes the mini episodes for the 2023 Doane 3-Man Umpire Camp.